The stars shimmered like scattered jewels across the endless black of space. But aboard the human starship, Endeavor, the crew hardly noticed. Commander Alex Rian stood on the bridge, hands clasped behind his back, eyes fixed on the distant cluster of planets that marked the edge of known space. To anyone else, these planets were silent, lifeless rocks. But to Alex, they were the beginning of a story. Few would believe a story about humans and the galaxy that had long dismissed them. Humans had traveled far and faced many dangers, yet whispers of their bravery had spread faster than any fleet. Alien civilizations spoke of them in hushed tones, some with respect, some with disbelief. In every corner of the galaxy, stories circulated about human warriors who could face overwhelming odds and survive. Some said humans had defeated fleets many times their size, or solved problems that had baffled the most advanced species. To the alien Queen Varith, these were just tales, myths meant to entertain. They were fables. She had never seen a human herself, and she had no reason to take the rumors seriously. Alex knew that belief or disbelief did not matter. What mattered was preparation, skill, and courage. He turned to his officers, a team of humans from many worlds, but united under the human banner. "We are approaching Orvath," he said, his voice calm but firm. "This is a diplomatic mission, but be ready for anything. Remember, we may be small, but we are never weak. Humans survive where others fail, because we think, we adapt, and we fight with purpose." His words were met with nods. The crew trusted him, not just because of his experience, but because he led by example. Alex's history was known among the humans he had survived. Battles that would have crushed others. Not through brute force alone, but through careful observation and quick thinking. They didn't need fables to inspire them. They had him. The planet Orvath grew larger in the view screens. A swirling mass of green and brown. Oceans glinting under the light of a distant sun. It was a beautiful world. Deceptively calm. Intelligence reports suggested it was under the control of Varith's forces, and any human presence would not go unnoticed. Alex's instincts told him that this mission, meant to open trade negotiations, could turn dangerous at any moment. He had always trusted instincts more than technology, more than maps, more than alien reports. Humans thrived on instincts, on creativity, on courage that could not be measured. As the Endeavor descended into Orvath's atmosphere, the crew prepared their landing gear. The ship hummed softly, a testament to human engineering, and the sound reminded Alex that humans could build, create, and endure in ways no one expected. The aliens might have stronger weapons, faster ships, and more advanced tools. But humans had adaptability. That was their edge. That was why fables existed about them, why even the alien queen had heard of their deeds. On the surface, the landing zone was calm, almost serene. Trees swayed gently, and a soft breeze carried the scent of strange flowers. The crew disembarked, scanning their surroundings carefully. Alex led them, confident yet vigilant. Diplomacy was the mission, but survival was always a priority. He studied the horizon, noting the movement of birds and creatures, the shifting of shadows. Every detail could matter. Every detail could save a life. For hours, nothing happened. The humans moved with precision, gathering samples, documenting the land, and sending peaceful signals to any nearby inhabitants. But Alex sensed tension. It was not fear, it was awareness. Humans could sense danger even when it was hidden, and he felt it now. Something watched them from the distance. Something powerful and intelligent. He did not speak of it immediately, but he increased his vigilance, signaling subtle changes to his crew so they would remain alert without panic. The rumors about human warriors reached even the ears of those who did not believe them. Varith's lieutenants spoke in disbelief to each other. Humans are tiny. They cannot survive our fleets. They cannot match our strength. Yet, their reports were strange. Sensors picked up patterns that did not fit the usual alien movements. Small victories in skirmishes, clever use of terrain, and unexpected strategies. It was as if a storm had arrived quietly, hidden within a calm, unassuming presence. Back on Orvath, Alex noticed signs of recent activity tracks in the soil, tools left by unknown hands. He crouched and examined them carefully. "These are not local creatures," he said softly. "Someone has been here before us. Stay sharp." His crew adjusted positions, watching carefully. Humans were not reckless. They prepared, they adapted, and they moved with purpose. Hours passed, and the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the forest. Alex felt the air shift. He did not need to see the enemy to know they were close. Humans could sense the movements of the living world in ways others could not. It was instinct honed by evolution, by survival. He signaled a halt and gathered his crew. "Prepare defensive positions," he instructed calmly. "We may be underestimated, but we will not be surprised." As darkness fell, strange shapes moved in the distance. Alex watched quietly, analyzing, waiting. Humans had a way of turning disadvantage into opportunity. If the aliens thought they were weak, they would be wrong. Humans had survived countless battles, not because they were strongest, but because they were clever, united, and unafraid. That night, around a small campfire, Alex spoke to his crew about the stories humans had become. "They call us fables," he said. "Legends that others tell to warn or inspire. But fables are based on truth. The truth is this: we survive. We fight. We endure. And if we are underestimated, it only gives us the advantage." The crew listened silently, feeling the weight of his words. In every eye, there was understanding, resolve, and quiet excitement. They were humans. They carried the stories of survival, courage, and ingenuity in their blood. They were underestimated across the galaxy, but that would change. They would show, through action, that the fables were real. Far above Orvath, the alien Queen Varith observed. Her eyes were cold and calculating, her thoughts dismissive. Humans were myths, she thought, stories to frighten young soldiers, tales that entertained in empty halls. Yet, a small part of her mind lingered on the reports she had received. One human commander, in particular, seemed different, but she dismissed it. A single human could not change the galaxy. It was impossible. Below, on Orvath, Alex and his crew rested for the night, unaware that their presence had already begun to change perceptions. The first steps of a story were being written. A story that would not end quietly. Humans had always survived where others expected them to fail. And tonight, they were preparing to do it again. The stars shone above, indifferent to empires and queens. And yet, somewhere among them, the legend of a human warrior was beginning to take shape. One that even a queen might one day remember, not as myth, not as fable, but as a truth impossible to deny. The next morning, the forest of Orvath was alive with sounds that humans had learned to read over centuries. The rustle of leaves, the soft footfalls of unseen creatures. Even the whispers of the wind told Alex Rian that he and his crew were not alone. They moved quietly, scanning the shadows. Every step measured and cautious. Though the mission was meant to be peaceful, Alex understood that peace was often only an illusion in a galaxy filled with those who underestimated humans. As they walked deeper into the forest, signs of alien activity became clearer. Strange symbols carved into tree trunks, faint scorch marks on rocks, and small devices that seemed like sensors all hinted at recent presence. Alex knelt to examine one, his fingers tracing the grooves. "These aren't just marks," he said softly. "They are warnings, left by someone who thinks they own this place. Stay alert." His crew adjusted their formation, spacing out in a way that maximized both visibility and safety. Humans had a natural instinct for teamwork in dangerous situations, a quality that had saved countless lives in wars across the stars. Each member of the crew was skilled, not just in combat, but in thinking on their feet, in noticing details others might miss. They moved like a single organism, each part aware of the whole. Hours passed without incident, but tension thickened in the air. The humans were careful not to make noise that could attract attention. Yet, even as they moved, Alex felt eyes on them. Intelligent eyes, watching, calculating. Whoever or whatever was observing them was strong, but perhaps not clever enough to predict human unpredictability. Suddenly, a loud snapping sound echoed through the forest. Alex's crew froze, hands instinctively moving to weapons. The sound was repeated, deliberate, a signal. From the shadows, figures emerged. They were tall, armored, and clearly alien, with glowing eyes and intricate weapons that hummed with energy. The humans had encountered alien patrols before, but these were different. They moved with purpose, and their coordination suggested training far beyond ordinary soldiers. Alex stepped forward, his posture calm but commanding. "We are not here to fight," he said, his voice firm. "We come in peace. We only wish to negotiate." The lead alien tilted its head, considering him. Communication was limited, but its stance suggested curiosity rather than immediate hostility. Yet its companions advanced slightly, and Alex knew that even curiosity could turn deadly if underestimated. He signaled his crew to maintain readiness without aggression. Humans understood that strength often came from restraint as much as from force. Then, without warning, one of the aliens lunged forward, testing the humans. Alex reacted instantly, sidestepping and using the attacker's momentum against it. The human training was precise, honed through years of simulation and real encounters. Another alien followed, and Alex blocked and redirected its strike, moving with a speed and confidence that surprised even him. His crew followed suit, creating a dance of defensive movements that left the aliens momentarily off balance. Alex's mind worked quickly. The aliens were strong and well-trained, but they were predictable, bound by rigid tactics. Humans, by contrast, thrived in chaos. Using the terrain, the shadows, and small environmental advantages, the humans began to turn the situation in their favor. A fallen branch became a trap, a loose rock a distraction. Every move was calculated, yet flexible, responding to changes the aliens could not anticipate. The aliens quickly realized that their opponent was no ordinary human. Reports had reached Queen Vareth about skilled human warriors, but seeing one in action was different. Alex fought with precision and creativity, not brute strength. Every attack he avoided, every counter he used, told a story of adaptability and courage. The patrol began to hesitate, confused by tactics they had never faced. Finally, Alex called a halt. His crew regrouped, breathing steadily, eyes alert. The aliens paused, recognizing perhaps reluctantly that their opponents were not easily defeated. Alex stepped forward, his voice carrying confidence rather than threat. "We do not seek war," he said, "but we will defend ourselves if forced. Underestimate us at your peril." The lead alien hesitated, then backed away slightly, signaling the others to do the same. Alex did not lower his guard. In the galaxy, hesitation could be as dangerous as attack. The encounter had confirmed his belief that humans were underestimated, but also that careful strategy could turn even a dangerous situation to their advantage. As the humans continued through the forest, they found evidence of previous skirmishes, burned foliage, strange devices smashed into the ground. Someone had been testing defenses, perhaps trying to gauge human capability. Alex studied the patterns carefully, noting that the aliens expected humans to rely on technology and numbers. They had assumed humans were predictable. They were wrong. By midday, the humans reached a small clearing where sunlight fell in golden beams. Alex signaled his crew to rest briefly, knowing that fatigue could dull even the sharpest mind. He observed his surroundings, noting vantage points and potential escape routes. Every detail mattered, because humans did not rely solely on strength. They relied on intelligence, on adaptability, on awareness. While the crew ate, Alex considered the reports that had reached Queen Varith. She had dismissed humans as myths, believing no single warrior could challenge her forces. Yet here, before him, were her patrols proving that humans could not be ignored. If a single human could outmaneuver trained aliens, what might a coordinated human crew accomplish? The thought strengthened his resolve. Humans thrived when underestimated. Even as they rested, Alex's mind worked ahead. He anticipated potential strategies the aliens might use, considering both defensive and offensive options. His crew followed his example, practicing maneuvers quietly, honing their readiness. Every step, every exercise, reinforced their unity and skill. The fables of human warriors were not just stories, they were truths waiting to be proven again. By late afternoon, shadows lengthened across the clearing. Movement at the edge of the trees drew Alex's attention. The aliens were returning, larger in number, better coordinated. The humans did not panic. Alex signaled for formation. This time, the encounter would be different. The humans were not merely surviving, they were ready to demonstrate why the galaxy had begun to whisper tales of their courage and skill. As the aliens approached, Alex glanced at his crew, meeting their eyes. Each person nodded, a silent understanding passing between them. Humans did not fight because they enjoyed battle. They fought because they were resilient, resourceful, and united. Underestimation would be their greatest advantage. The first alien charge came swiftly, but the humans were ready. Alex led the counter, moving through the trees with precision, using agility and quick thinking to turn the aliens' strength against them. The crew followed in perfect coordination, anticipating each move and exploiting every weakness. The forest became a theater of human ingenuity, a place where stories became legend in real time. By nightfall, the aliens had retreated, leaving signs of their astonishment. Alex and his crew were unharmed, but the message was clear. Humans could not be dismissed. The fables whispered across the stars were based on truth. A single human warrior, with skill, courage, and cleverness, could change the course of an encounter, even against superior forces. As the humans set up camp for the night, Alex looked up at the sky. Stars stretched endlessly above, indifferent, yet awe-inspiring. Somewhere out there, the alien Queen Varith would hear of this encounter. The humans had proven themselves not just to themselves, but to the galaxy. The fables of human warriors were no longer just stories. They were reality. And the reality was that humans thrived where others faltered, survived where others failed, and could achieve greatness in the face of impossibility. Tonight, another chapter of those fables had been written, and the galaxy would take notice. The forest of Orvath was quieter than usual the next morning, but Alex Rian sensed it was a calm before a storm. The previous day's encounters had left his crew alert and disciplined. Every movement, every sound, every shadow was noted. Humans were not reckless. They were careful observers of the world around them. Alex could feel it, something bigger was approaching, something that would test them beyond anything they had faced before. He signaled his crew to maintain formation as they moved through the trees. "Stay alert," he said, softly. "Yesterday was only the beginning. We have to expect more, and we have to be ready for anything." His words carried authority, not fear. Humans thrived under pressure because they did not panic. They analyzed, adapted, and acted. His crew understood instinctively what he meant. Hours passed without incident. Yet Alex's instincts remained sharp. The forest seemed alive, in a way that went beyond nature. Shadows moved where there should be none, and subtle sounds hinted at creatures observing from a distance. The humans had faced aliens before, but nothing like what was about to arrive. Suddenly, the ground trembled slightly underfoot. The sound was faint at first, then stronger, like the beating of enormous drums. Alex froze and held up his hand. His crew stopped immediately, eyes wide. Something huge was coming. Not soldiers, not patrols, something far more formidable. The vibrations grew until the trees themselves seemed to shiver. Then, through the mist and trees, a figure emerged. Tall, regal, and terrifyingly commanding, the alien Queen Varith stepped into view. Her armor shimmered with a strange light, and her presence alone made the forest feel smaller, tighter, confined by her will. She had come personally. Alex's instincts told him that this encounter would be unlike any battle he had faced. Humans had survived countless dangers, but they had never faced a queen of an empire in person. The crew tensed, but Alex remained calm. His eyes met hers, measuring, calculating. The stories of her cruelty and strength had circulated for years. Yet he saw something else as well. Curiosity, interest, a flicker of disbelief. Varith had dismissed humans as fables, myths told to amuse or inspire. But now, she saw them, standing firm in a forest she considered hers. Varith spoke in a language unfamiliar to humans, but her meaning was clear through gestures and tone. She challenged them. Her elite warriors circled, weapons ready, but she remained in the center, observing. Alex realized that she did not expect a simple skirmish. She wanted to see if the humans were as formidable as the stories suggested. He stepped forward, raising his hands in a gesture of peace. "We do not wish to fight," he said, in a firm voice. "We are here to negotiate. But if we are attacked, we will defend ourselves." His crew mirrored his stance. Calm and ready. Humans had survived against impossible odds because they faced danger with clarity, not panic. Varith tilted her head, studying him. Her eyes glowed faintly, scanning him in a way that suggested she was assessing his mind, his strength, his resolve. Alex understood that this was more than a physical confrontation. It was a test of courage, intelligence, and willpower. Humans excelled in these areas, and he intended to prove it. Without warning, one of her elite guards moved forward, testing the humans. Alex reacted instantly, sidestepping and using the alien's momentum to throw it off balance. The crew followed, their movements precise and coordinated. Each human used the environment, the uneven ground, the trees, the shadows, to gain an advantage. Varith observed silently, her expression unreadable, yet her focus never wavered. The engagement escalated. Alex dodged, parried, and countered with a mixture of agility and strategy. He did not rely on brute force alone. Every move was calculated, anticipating the alien's reactions. His crew supported him seamlessly, demonstrating the unity and intelligence that humans were known for. Even the Queen's elite forces were forced to retreat and rethink their approach. Varith's interest deepened. She had never faced a human who could move with such unpredictability, who could adapt in the middle of combat without hesitation. Her empire's warriors were trained for strategy, for power, for numbers. But humans were different. They were flexible, clever, and fearless in ways her soldiers were not. Alex's actions challenged everything she had believed about their species. Alex pressed forward carefully. He did not attack the Queen directly. He understood the danger, but he maneuvered in a way that forced her to respond to him, to adjust her tactics. Humans had a natural talent for turning situations to their advantage. He watched her reactions, learning her patterns, testing her limits. Every step, every feint, every dodge was a lesson, and every lesson shifted the balance slightly toward the humans. Minutes stretched into tense moments where neither side had full control. Vareth realized that underestimating humans had been a grave mistake. She had come expecting a simple display of her dominance, a show to remind the humans of their weakness. Instead, she was witnessing their ingenuity firsthand. One human warrior, with his crew's support, was forcing her to adapt. The fables she had dismissed as myths were alive before her eyes. The forest itself seemed to respond to their movements. Fallen branches became obstacles, rocks were used as leverage, and shadows concealed human maneuvers. The humans were a storm contained within their own discipline, unpredictable yet coordinated. Alex's leadership shone brightest under pressure, guiding his crew with quiet confidence. He was not reckless, he was precise, careful, and relentless. At a crucial moment, Alex exploited a small gap in the Queen's formation, drawing her attention while signaling his crew to flank the elite guards. The aliens reacted quickly, but they could not predict the humans' adaptability. Each move Alex made demonstrated the core of human strength, creativity under pressure, courage without hesitation, and the ability to turn a disadvantage into an advantage. Vareth, watching closely, realized that the stories she had dismissed were based on reality. Humans were not merely strong or skilled. They were resourceful, courageous, and impossible to predict. A single human warrior could force her to consider tactics she had never imagined. Her respect for them, though quiet and restrained, grew with each passing moment. The engagement drew to a cautious pause. Alex and his crew remained ready, knowing that any false move could reignite combat. Vareth stepped back, her expression unreadable, but her mind racing. She had seen humans act in ways that defied her expectations. One warrior, using intelligence and adaptability rather than raw power, had challenged the Queen herself. The lesson was clear. Humans were not to be underestimated. As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the forest floor, Alex signaled his crew to hold position. The encounter had proven their point. They had faced a force greater than anything they had met before, and had survived with skill, strategy, and unity. The stories of human warriors were no longer fables, they were truth, written in real time through courage and cleverness. The humans set up a small camp, maintaining vigilance while resting. Alex looked up at the sky, feeling the weight of what had occurred. The Queen herself had seen their abilities, and the galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. These moments would be remembered, not as myth, not as rumor, but as undeniable evidence of human strength and spirit. As night fell, the stars above Orvath glimmered like silent witnesses. Somewhere out there, Queen Vareth would reconsider her beliefs, and the fables of human warriors would gain new life. Humans had survived impossible odds before, and they would do it again. The true battle was not only in strength, but in will, courage, and the unyielding ingenuity that made humanity feared, respected, and impossible to ignore. The forest of Orvath was quiet again, but the humans knew better than to trust silence. Alex Rion's instincts were sharp, honed from years of surviving impossible situations. The encounter with the alien queen the day before had changed everything. What had started as a test was now an open challenge. The humans had survived her presence, and now they would prove that survival was only the beginning. Alex scanned the forest as his crew moved carefully through the shadows. Every step was calculated, every motion deliberate. They had learned from the previous encounters. The aliens were strong and disciplined, but they relied on predictable tactics. Humans, by contrast, thrived on unpredictability, on creativity, on clever use of their environment. Alex had no doubt that today, the advantage could shift in their favor. He signaled to his crew to take strategic positions among the trees and rocks. Each human moved quietly, but confidently, understanding instinctively the plan forming in Alex's mind. He knew the Queen herself would be observing from afar, and he wanted to demonstrate the full strength of human ingenuity. The fables of old were not myths. They were a warning that underestimation could be fatal. Suddenly, the forest trembled once more. This time, the arrival was unmistakable. Queen Varith emerged, her presence commanding and terrifying. Her armor glowed faintly, and her elite warriors surrounded her, forming a wall of strength. Alex did not flinch. He studied her movements carefully, noting patterns, predicting reactions. Humans were masters of adaptation, and he intended to turn this encounter into a decisive lesson. The queen advanced, her eyes fixed on Alex. Her warriors moved in coordination, closing in on the humans. Alex signaled to his crew. They split into smaller groups, using the terrain to their advantage. Trees, rocks, and shadows became shields, traps, and obstacles. Every move was designed to confuse and frustrate the queen's forces. The humans did not attack recklessly. They controlled the battle with intelligence and precision. An alien warrior lunged at one of Alex's team, and Alex responded instantly, using the attacker's momentum to redirect it into a tree. Another warrior aimed at a different human, only to be outmaneuvered by quick thinking and careful timing. The humans moved like water, flexible and unstoppable, while the queen's forces struggled to predict their actions. Varith's expression changed slightly. She had underestimated humans before, but now she was beginning to understand their true strength. They were not merely fighters, they were thinkers, strategists, and innovators. Alex's leadership allowed each crew member to act independently while maintaining perfect coordination. Humans had survived worse odds than these, and they would do it again. Alex noticed a narrow ravine ahead, a natural funnel that could be used to their advantage. He signaled to his crew, guiding them silently. As the queen's forces followed, the humans used the terrain to restrict their movements, forcing them into positions where strength alone was insufficient. Every step, every decision, was a demonstration of human adaptability. The battle intensified. The humans did not rely on technology to overpower the aliens. They relied on clever tactics, teamwork, and observation. By luring the elite warriors into confined spaces, Alex allowed his crew to disarm and neutralize them without unnecessary risk. Every move was precise, deliberate, and effective. The queen's forces were skilled, but human creativity and adaptability were overwhelming them. Varith herself stepped forward, realizing that she could not rely solely on her soldiers. She had come to witness the human's strength, and now she needed to confront it directly. Alex met her gaze steadily, unwavering. The humans did not fight with fear. They fought with confidence, using every advantage the environment offered. They had learned, adapted, and were now turning the tide. The queen attacked, her movements swift and powerful. Alex countered with agility and strategy, using the environment to evade her strikes. Rocks, branches, and uneven ground became extensions of his skill. He did not attempt to overpower her, he forced her to react, to adapt. And in doing so, he demonstrated the core of human strength: intelligence under pressure. The queen's elite warriors, seeing their leader engaged, tried to regroup and flank the humans, but Alex anticipated this. He signaled for a coordinated maneuver, and the humans used misdirection, timing, and precise movements to outmaneuver the aliens. Every step reinforced a simple truth. Humans survived not by being the strongest, but by being clever, adaptable, and united. Varith watched closely, her respect for the humans growing with each passing moment. She had always believed humans were fables, myths, to be dismissed, but now she saw a single human warrior, commanding a team with intelligence, skill, and courage, shaping the battlefield in ways her soldiers could not predict. Her assumptions were unraveling. The engagement reached a turning point. Alex identified a weak point in the formation, a subtle gap created by the queen's own movements. With a precise signal, his crew exploited the opening, pushing back the alien forces in a coordinated effort. The Queen herself had to retreat briefly, adjusting her strategy. For the first time, she faced a human who forced her to reconsider tactics she had relied on for centuries. The humans did not celebrate victory, they maintained readiness. They knew that survival and success required focus, even when the tide turned. Alex moved among his crew, ensuring that every position was secure, every angle covered. Humans had survived countless battles because they were disciplined, aware, and capable of acting as one. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the forest floor, the humans had achieved something remarkable. They had faced an overwhelmingly powerful enemy and shifted the balance through intelligence, strategy, and unity. The fables that had spread across the galaxy were no longer stories, they were a living reality, demonstrated by the courage and skill of a single human warrior and his crew. Varith retreated with her elite warriors, observing from a distance. Her expression was unreadable, but her mind was racing. She had faced humans directly and survived, yet she could not deny the lessons they had taught her. Underestimating humans had been a mistake, one she would not repeat. The fables, once dismissed, had proven to be true. Alex and his crew set up camp as night fell, still alert but confident. They had survived the encounter. And in doing so, they had proven a simple truth. Humans were resourceful, adaptable, and courageous beyond expectation. Their ingenuity had turned a potentially deadly encounter into a demonstration of what made them feared and respected across the galaxy. Around the campfire, Alex spoke quietly to his crew. "We have done more than survive today," he said. "We have shown that humans are more than stories. We are thinkers, fighters, and survivors. Never forget that our strength lies not in weapons or numbers, but in our ability to adapt, to think, and to act together. The galaxy may underestimate us, but we will not make that mistake ourselves." The crew nodded, understanding the weight of his words. They were humans, capable of achieving the impossible. The fables of old were not myths, they were evidence of what humans could do when faced with challenges that seemed insurmountable. Tonight, another chapter had been added to those stories, a chapter of courage, strategy, and ingenuity. As the stars shone above Orvath, Alex allowed himself a brief moment of reflection. The humans had faced an empire's queen and lived to tell the tale. The fables would spread, not as exaggeration, but as truth. And the humans, united and resolute, would continue to prove that their spirit could overcome any obstacle, challenge, or enemy that dared to underestimate them. The forest was silent, the humans prepared, and the galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. For tonight, humanity had turned the tide. The alien queen had seen them, and the story of a human warrior and his crew would not be forgotten. The first light of dawn broke over Orvath, painting the forest in shades of gold and green. Alex Rian and his crew were already awake, moving quietly but efficiently. The events of the past 2 days had changed everything. The humans had survived attacks, adapted to impossible situations, and proven themselves against forces that were considered unbeatable. Today, they would solidify what they had begun, earning the respect of an empire that had long dismissed them. Alex scanned the clearing. The forest was alive, but the tension in the air was different now. The Queen's forces had not returned in full, but scouts and sentries watched from the edges of the trees. Varith herself observed from a distance, her presence commanding and patient. She had seen enough to understand the humans were not ordinary warriors. She had underestimated them before, but now she faced the undeniable reality. Humans were clever, adaptable, and unbreakable in spirit. The humans moved in formation, not aggressively, but with quiet confidence. Alex led them toward the clearing, where the Queen's emissaries waited. His crew followed without hesitation, knowing that every action, every gesture, communicated as much as words. Humans had survived by reading situations, adapting quickly, and using intelligence over brute strength. This encounter was no different. Vareth stepped forward to meet them. Her eyes, sharp and calculating, regarded Alex with a mixture of curiosity and respect. "You have survived what I thought impossible," she said, her voice firm but calm. "You have turned disadvantage into strength, chaos into order. You are no longer myths. You are reality." Alex bowed slightly, not out of fear but out of acknowledgement. "We did not seek conflict," he said, "but we will defend ourselves, our crew, and our principles when necessary. Humans survive by thinking, adapting, and standing together. That is all we have ever done, and all we ever will do." The Queen studied him carefully. Her forces had returned, ready, but she made a decision that surprised her own officers. "You have earned my respect," she said. "I see now that your stories are not exaggerations. You and your people have qualities that cannot be measured by technology alone. I wish to speak of alliance, not conquest." A murmur ran through Alex's crew. Diplomacy with the alien queen herself was rare, and this offer was extraordinary. Yet, Alex remained cautious. Respect had to be tested and proven, not assumed. "We accept your offer," he replied. "But understand that humans are strong, independent, and principled. Any alliance must honor that truth." Vareth nodded. "I understand," she said. "Humans are unpredictable, yet effective. That is a quality I respect. Your ingenuity and courage have taught me something important. Strength is not only measured in weapons or numbers, but in spirit, in adaptability, and in unity." The humans and the Queen's emissaries engaged in careful discussions, exchanging ideas about trade, defense, and cooperation. Alex observed quietly, noting that even the Queen's demeanor had changed. She listened, adapted, and considered their perspectives. Humans had faced impossible odds and survived. Now, they were shaping the future of interstellar relations through intelligence and strategy, not through aggression. As the day progressed, trust began to form. The Queen allowed her scouts to observe human tactics, curious about the methods that had allowed them to survive against her forces. Alex demonstrated basic maneuvers, showing how humans use the environment, strategy, and creativity to overcome challenges. Vareth watched closely, noting the precision, timing, and adaptability that made humans formidable. She had underestimated them, but now she recognized the truth. Humans were exceptional. By afternoon, the forest was quiet again, but the tension had shifted. Humans were no longer just survivors, they were equals in strategy and thought. Vareth's respect grew with each demonstration of ingenuity. She realized that she could learn from humans as well as humans could learn from her. The fables she had dismissed as myths were alive, embodied in the courage, intelligence, and unity of a single human warrior and his crew. Alex took a moment to address his team. "What we have done is more than survive," he said. "We have proven that humans are capable of extraordinary things when we work together. The galaxy may have doubted us, but we have shown them the truth. Never forget that our greatest strength lies in our mind, our courage, and our unity." The crew listened attentively, understanding the weight of his words. They had faced superior forces, adapted under pressure, and emerged not just alive, but victorious in a moral and strategic sense. The fables of human warriors had become reality, and the galaxy would take note. Vareth approached Alex once more as the sun dipped toward the horizon. "You have shown me something I did not expect," she said. "Humans are not just survivors. You are thinkers, leaders, and strategists. I once dismissed you as myth, but now I see the truth. Your stories will inspire generations, even within my empire. Alex nodded. We do what humans have always done, he said. We adapt. We endure. We think. And when necessary, we fight not just for ourselves, but for what is right. That is who we are. The Queen's elite warriors, observing from a distance, felt a change as well. They had fought humans before and expected chaos, fear, and unpredictability without control. Instead, they saw a disciplined, united, and intelligent group capable of outthinking them. Respect replaced disbelief. The fables of human warriors were no longer just words, they were a living example of what could be achieved with courage and ingenuity. As night fell on Orvath, the humans and the Queen's forces camped in relative peace, the first true truce between species who had once been strangers and potential enemies. The stars above shimmered like witnesses to the remarkable events that had unfolded. The humans had survived impossible odds, adapted to overwhelming force, and earned the respect of an empire. Their fables were now reality, and their story would spread across the galaxy. Alex looked around at his crew, seeing pride, determination, and quiet satisfaction in their faces. They had faced one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy, and survived not by luck, but by intelligence, courage, and unity. The humans had turned myth into reality, proving that stories were true when backed by action and resolve. The alien queen approached once more, speaking with a tone of respect and acknowledgement. Your people have qualities I admire. Your ingenuity, courage, and adaptability are unmatched. I will ensure that your achievements are remembered. The fables are true, and the galaxy will know it. Alex nodded solemnly. That is all we ask. Humans are not invincible, but we are determined, clever, and united. That is enough to make a difference. Thank you for seeing the truth. The night deepened, and the humans prepared to rest. They had survived, adapted, and earned the respect of a being whose empire spanned worlds. The fables of human warriors had become legend, a testament to what could be achieved when courage, intelligence, and unity combined. Across the galaxy, the story of their bravery and ingenuity would inspire generations, human and alien alike. As Alex stared at the stars above, he knew this was only the beginning. Humans had shown their strength, but their journey was far from over. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges and mysteries, and humans would face them as they always had, with courage, intelligence, and determination. The fables were no longer myths, they were proof of a truth that could not be ignored. And in that quiet moment, Alex allowed himself a small smile. Humans had survived the impossible once again, and the galaxy had begun to understand why.